Hi, Greg Studley here for another episode of A Guitarist's Guide to Improvising with Knowledge. I'm author of the book and developer of the website improvisingwithknowledge.com. This episode, we're going to cover the second major and minor pentatonic shape. Reminder to you that everything we're going to cover today is available for download off the website improvisingwithknowledge.com. We're going to start off today's episode with an understanding of the notes across the A string. We're going to follow that up with the major pentatonic scale shape A4, and finally the minor pentatonic scale shape A1. Before diving into this stuff, it's real important you should already have an understanding of the notes across the E strings, have an understanding of the minor pentatonic scale shape E1, the major pentatonic scale shape E4, playing eighth notes, and improvising using those scales over a major and minor chord progression. We're going to start off today with the A string notes. The reason why we're going to cover these is because our new scales have their roots located on the A string. Here's a diagram of all the notes across the A string. As you'll see, B and C are right next to each other, as are E and F. This is the same way the layout was working on the E string. It's really great to just get that idea locked in your head. B and C, as well as E and F, have no available note in between. Here's an exercise that we're going to do just to get you used to these notes going up and down the neck. We're going to start on the open A string, going to play all of the natural notes leading up to the high A, which is the 12th fret, and then we're going to make our way back down, naming all the natural notes. Your best bet is to say these note names aloud while you're playing, and just use the first finger to make it very easy to play. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, G, F, E, D, C, D, A. Just like the E string, there are available flats and sharps that can be placed in between these natural notes. Same kind of system. If a note needs to go sharp, it moves up by one fret, and if a note is flat, it means it is moved down by one fret. Here's a diagram of all the available notes across the A string. You'll notice that still all of these notes can be labeled as sharps or flats. It all depends on what's going on in the music. It may be called one, it may be called the other, so it's best to know all the names. What we'll do is an exercise getting you used to how you can acknowledge all the different names of these. We'll start from the open A string again, except we will now name all of our notes going up using sharp names as we come to these in-between notes, and then we'll play it on the way down, covering every fret, every available note, using flat names. It's best to say the note names aloud to really get them stuck in your head, and use the first finger. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A flat, G, G flat, F, E flat, D, D flat, C, D flat, A. Now that we've covered all the available notes on the A string, we're going to start looking at the shapes that are rooted on this string. We're going to first start with the major pentatonic scale shape A4. Like the major pentatonic scale shape E4, it's a 5-note scale and it is great for improvising over major chords and their variations such as 7s, major 7s, or 6s. Here's a diagram of the major pentatonic scale shape A4. There are two available roots. The first root, the lowest root that is available on the A string and is played with the 4th finger. That's where the scale gets its name A4, because our lowest root is on the A string, 4th finger. We also have a high root available, which is located on the B string and is played with the 2nd finger. We're going to start getting comfortable with this scale by just placing it in one spot on the neck, which is at G major pentatonic. What we want to do is find the note G on the A string. That's going to be located here at 10th fret. We want to play that note with our 4th finger. Therefore, our hand is in 7th position. We're going to play this scale shape starting from the lowest available root, which is our G, up to the highest note, back down until we've reached the lowest available note, and then resolving back up at our low root. The best thing to do is to play that scale over and over until you really can start seeing it as a shape. Mainly because now what we're going to do is an exercise that takes this and starts moving this shape across the neck and putting it into different locations. We're going to start at the lowest available location for this scale, which is the C major pentatonic scale. This puts our hand into first position and we'll use open strings. From there, we're going to move up into the D major pentatonic scale. That puts our hand into second position. From there, we move to fourth position for our E pentatonic scale, and then our F major pentatonic scale in fifth position. Now, to get ourselves really used to this shape, we're going to add a little bit of something difficult, which is going to be we're going to go back and forth between low roots and high roots as our starting points. We're going to start the C major pentatonic on a low root. D major pentatonic is going to start from a high root. E major pentatonic is going to start from a low root, and the F major pentatonic will start from a high root. Starting now from our C major pentatonic on the low root. C from the low root. D from the high root. E from the low root. From the high root. We're now going to go into the minor pentatonic scale shape A1. Like the minor pentatonic scale shape E1, this one can also be used for improvising over minor chords and their variations, like minor seventh chords. Here's a diagram of the minor pentatonic scale shape A1. You can notice that it's just about the same finger pattern, with the exception of the roots have been changed from the major pentatonic scale that we just played. So, you now have your low root available on the A string with the first finger, and you now have a high root that is available on the G string to be played with the third finger. What we're going to do is apply this scale to the D minor pentatonic scale to understand how it can be used. This means we're going to place our hand in fifth position. That way we are playing the note D on the A string with the first finger. This will allow us to play the minor pentatonic scale shape A1. We're going to be playing this scale from the low root all the way up to the highest note, back down to the lowest available note, and then resolving back up to our root. So now here's the D minor pentatonic scale being played in fifth position using the minor pentatonic scale shape A1. If you feel like you've played this and understand it and can start seeing it as a shape, the best thing to do is now take it and move it around the neck. We're going to take one of the more difficult approaches, which is also the best one to know your placement around the neck. Instead of walking up the neck by our natural notes like we did with the major pentatonic scale, we're going to take this thing around the circle of fifths. Again, we're not going all the way around, although that is the best way to practice it. I'm just going to show you how you can get through probably what is the most difficult part of the circle of fifths. We're going to start on F minor, and we're going to move counterclockwise through. So from F minor, we're going to arrive at B flat minor, then to E flat minor, which is going to take us to G sharp minor, and finally to C sharp minor. This is going to have our hand jumping back and forth across the neck to find the placement of all these. This exercise may take a while for you to get used to it, but it's the best one you can do. We're also, as we're playing, going to alternate our roots as we're playing. We're going to start from our lowest root on the F minor pentatonic, and as we go through, we're going to alternate roots, and we're also going to alternate which direction this scale is being played. F minor from the low root. B flat minor from the high root. E flat minor from the low root. G sharp minor from the high root. C sharp minor from the low root. I hope this episode has given you a pretty good idea of how you can start playing the second pentatonic shape for both major pentatonic scales and minor pentatonic scales. Use all the exercises for getting familiar with how you can take this scale and move it all around the neck. Visit the website, improvisingwithknowledge.com. There you'll find all of the exercises that we did today available for download. You can play along with the jam tracks to see how well your improvising is going. You can also sign up for the newsletter. You'll get information about what's going on in the upcoming episodes, and you'll find out when the book is to be released. Our next episode is going to cover improvising using two pentatonic shapes.